Welcome to You Know What, the podcast for you that dispels the myths and BS in the fitness industry whilst leveling up your A game in everyday life. We are your hosts, Nick Finch and Dan King.
Can't move.
Welcome, guys, to You Know What.
I like how you start these now. It's really,
Okay.
it's so good. Hit me with
How
your
we
fact,
doing,
mate. I'm all good. I was waiting for your facts. I'm ready for
facts. I've got a
facts.
random fact for you guys, okay? Did you know, or should I say, you know what? Oh, God, I can't read my handwriting anymore. So I'll write this down. We use our phones and internet-connected screens a daily average of 6 hours and 58 minutes.
6 hours?
The entire world uses their phone and internet-connected devices 6 hours and 58 minutes on every day on average.
You know one thing that we used to always compare between each other? Do you remember when we used to compare temple run scores?
No.
No.
Not really, man.
I think that our mature equivalent of that is comparing your screen time.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what? Like the amount of times I've had conversations with clients and we've been like, "What's your screen time?"
No, my clients, we're doing sleep time.
You're doing sleep time?
Yeah, what's your REM cycle, deep sleep, light sleep like? And everyone's like, "Oh, I got more deep sleep. I got 26% last night." It's like, "Oh, cool."
We've got very different clients. I'll be totally honest. We're comparing how long we spend doom scrolling, and you're actually comparing a very, very good variable. I'm not going to lie.
I wore a Fitbit for a long time.
Yeah.
And because I was wearing it for sleep, to track my sleep, and I wear it in the day to track my heart rate and my steps, my skin underneath got really wet and moist, and it started like causing blisters. Yeah. So then I just stopped using it. Annoying.
Fitbit, we still want a sponsorship.
Fitbit, change your straps, man.
Oh, you can buy them though. You can buy them on Amazon. Yeah, literally. Moles has got like 7 assorted straps. It's like, do you know when you see pastel coloured glute bands in a gym? In a gym.
In a what?
In a gym. In a gym. It's like that. She's got this assortment of pastel coloured bands that she puts on her Fitbit. Sometimes it doesn't even fit the outfit. Sometimes it's literally just like a bright blue band and she's like wearing an orange outfit. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. Anywho.
I've got a question for you. Have you seen the film Limitless?
Mate, such a good film.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt in it?
Yeah.
No, Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper.
Brad Pitt. Bradley Pitt.
Bradley
Cooper.
That's the one.
Limitless film, best film ever.
It is a good film.
And one of the reasons why our program is called Limitless.
It is. You know what? Well, I know why, but go on. Enlighten me.
No, you talk to me.
I mean, for us, obviously, we're trying to build this triangle with all our clients through nutrition, mindset, and activity, and sleep as well.
Nutrition, mindset, and activity. Yeah.
So we're trying to build up that, and we're, again, the phrase we use is unlock your limitless potential. So we're trying to do that, and I think the Limitless movie depicts that really well. Granted, he's on some kind of performance-enhancing drugs, but at the end of the day, it actually depicts how well, when everything is in tune in your life, and when you're supplementing correctly, you're sleeping correctly, your mind is working at this kind of like 100 knots an hour, you know, like you're doing these incredible things, how efficient you can be getting through your workload. And I mean,
100%.
Bradley Cooper is also a handsome man, you know, let's be honest. He's a dapper fella, so he's quite, you know.
Is he more handsome than Zac Efron?
Yes, because he looks like a gargoyle now.
Yeah. Anyway, this is getting off track a little bit. So the reason why I mentioned Limitless film is because we're based on a Limitless film, but also the flow state. Like, I think most people would argue that if I said to you, would you take a pill that could make you feel limitless? Would you take it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you would say that because of your past.
Yes.
But
no.
I'm joking. Everyone would. If you had a pill that could give you unlimited motivation, you could feel good. You're just doing more things. Yeah. You're picking up like learning like that. Mm-hmm. Anyone would take that, man. You
know what? You've brought me into. I've just gone into my own flow state there because. Yeah. What is unlimited motivation? It's discipline.
Wow.
Discipline is technically unlimited motivation.
Yeah.
Because it is. You're motivated. You don't feel motivated, but you have to have some sense of motivation to get the jobs done that you set for yourself in the day. So realistically, discipline is unlimited motivation.
Interesting, man. Interesting. That's the whole discipline versus motivation debate, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, motivation gets you going. It's always rule of thumb, isn't it? Motivation gets you started in a race, but the only thing that helps you finish a race is discipline. Yeah. And any kind of extreme athletes out there, any marathon runners, any long distance runners, anyone who's competed to any level, that's going to be, you know.
So I would say discipline, right, is more important than motivation, but not necessarily discipline doing things you don't like. Like I know it sounds a bit like backwards when I say that. I tried doing discipline on the most, like, like DMs, like running a business, you got to DM 25, 50 people a day. I tried disciplining myself to do that. Hated it.
Yeah.
Like, it just made me feel like I was doing the most anal task ever.
Yeah.
Did not want to do it, right? And I could discipline myself and do it anyway, and I'll get motivated, but I didn't. But if I discipline myself to meditate and visualize and be more centered around, the importance of doing something like DMs, then I get motivated to then do DMs.
Yeah.
So the discipline, I think, like, it doesn't necessarily mean discipline yourself to do bad things,
No.
things that you hate. Discipline yourself to do the most important thing, which I think is getting your mindset right. Doing a daily discipline where you get your mindset right, and then everything else just filters from that, and you become more disciplined in general.
I could agree with you there. Yeah. I feel like it unlocks, as we say, you unlock this higher state almost. It's like, I like to explain like fat loss in the tiering system, but I also like to explain mindset as well. Imagine you're playing Super Mario. I've done this before, but imagine you're playing Super Mario, and when you play Super Mario, you go through world 1 of 1, world 1 of 2, 1 of 3, 1 of 4, and you get to the end when you finally jump on Bowser's head. And now, for me, those levels are you unlocking these different higher states. That's my opinion on it. And then once you've done a set of it, say, for example, one area you want to work on is your discipline. That's you unlocking a whole set of it. And once you do that whole set, you move into the next thing. For example, it could be consistency-based.
Yeah.
That's how I like to picture it. I'm a gamer myself, if people don't know it. I'm a big gamer. I've played since I was really young. Played Duck Hunt, and
We played Mario Brothers.
We did.
And I beat you on the first game.
Bullshit.
I beat.
Bullshit.
You know what it is?
I'm unbeatable on that game.
I'm 32 and I played Mario when I was younger, man. A long time ago. And I was a king back then. Back in the Wii days, man.
Wii days were good. I think Wii days were really good. The Wii days were good. No, but you also, what? I used to play on N64 back in day.
Yeah.
Like old
Nintendo 64,
school.
I played that.
Old school, man.
My nan, so there was a competition in a newspaper saying that if you can write a poem and it wins out of all the selections, you get a Nintendo 64. It was meant for kids. My nan wrote me a poem, and then she won because she's obviously really good at poems, and every other kid's not compared. And I won a Nintendo 64.
I'm surprised you didn't get called up by the Queen. Who's this Nick Finch fellow in this local area in Bracknell, wasn't it?
Why is this 5-year-old speaking like a 90-year-old poet master?
An eloquent woman. What's going on here? It doesn't make sense.
She won me a 64, man.
That's, to be fair,
That's cool.
How much were they back in the day?
I think they're 200 quid at the time. And I think,
were they?
I think that's, well, maybe. I don't know. Actually, it's 20 years ago. That's like 200 quid's a lot.
Well, we were just talking about petrol, weren't we? Like, we remember the days when petrol was under 100p per litre.
Yeah.
Now it's just kind of like staying about 141. Inflation.
100%, man. 100%. Back to flow state, though. There's something there's something that I wanted to mention. And it's like dopamine, very important neurochemical, which is responsible for motivation. Your dopamine can actually get influenced by so many things. So you can use it for like basically addiction-based stuff like gaming, porn use, etc. And if you do too much of these things, your dopamine gets depleted, and then your man, it's been so long since I've read up on this. Can't remember what they're called. Are they
neurotransmitters?
Synapses?
Oh, what you on about? What are you trying to describe?
In the brain, there's synapses.
Yeah, so you got synapse and neurotransmitters that cross across the synapse.
That's the one. Yeah, so they can get desensitized to it, basically. So that means that you don't get as much dopamine for doing normal things if you get overuse, like gaming, porn use, whatever. So when it comes to dopamine, what's really interesting, actually, is that if you want motivation, you need to actually take away addictions to certain things. So you get more dopamine released when you're doing normal things.
Here's a question for you.
It's good.
Do you think you can get addicted to exercise?
Yeah.
Do you think it has the same effect as, for example, gaming and porn use?
Yeah.
Yeah? Same byproduct?
Yeah, don't you?
I know, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think the one difference with exercise is you're obviously producing different hormones. When you're gaming, I feel like you're more using your coordination skills. I feel like, okay, you could say you're doing that in exercise depending on what you're doing. But exercise promotes endorphin release as well, not just dopamine.
So you're saying it's a healthier addiction?
I think it's a healthy addiction, but
Okay.
put it this way, in terms of physical health, when people overtrain, you can injure yourself. So it's got its plus points, but I think out of most of the addictions out there, drug, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, I mean, gaming, I'm a gamer, so I can't, I'm totting up gaming and activity. You're not exactly going to get a thumb injury from gaming, are you?
Yeah.
Well,
You can.
Yes, yes.
You can. You can. What's the healthiest addiction then in the world? The healthiest addiction?
Meditation.
Really?
I would say yes.
Okay.
However, you basically put yourself in a coma.
Yeah. Have you not? Oh man. Oh my god. There's okay. If you go on the news,
Yeah.
they found a monk in a cardboard box in the meditation pose, and they said that he's still alive after like 300 years.
What?
Yeah.
So,
Apparently, he's gone into a deep state of meditation where he's still technically alive, even though he's dead.
so his brain still functions, but it only functions so minimally.
No, there's no brain function or anything. He's completely dead, but they're saying that he's in a very deep trance meditation.
Or did he just die during meditation? You know, people pass in their sleep. Like,
So we're going back to, is it a healthy addiction? You can go so far into the meditative world that you can actually lose need to drink, eat, do basic things. Maybe breathe. Maybe.
I don't even think I've ventured even a step into it at this point. Well, we're going back to the Mario conversation. Man's on level 1 of 1. They ain't going nowhere at the minute.
What about breathing? Breathing's a healthy addiction.
Unless you
Can you think of any circumstance where breathing's a bad thing, except for in water?
causing yourself a panic attack. I mean, I feel like, look, this is something that actually one of my electronics teachers said to me once. You can kill yourself with everything in the world. It's a really deep thing, but technically, interesting thing, you can kill yourself with absolutely everything. It was really dark from her as well. She was like a northern woman telling me this. Everything. Go on, say something and I'll tell you how.
One atom. Come on, tell me. Explain.
Split an atom. Split it.
Yeah?
Boom. Explosion.
How would you split it?
I don't know how it works. I know science. I don't know how atom bombs are made. You split an atom though. That's how hydrogen bombs are made, because you split a hydrogen atom.
Would the limitless feeling be a healthy addiction?
Are we talking movie or are we talking us?
If you were addicted to feeling limitless in the flow state.
I mean, technically you could then go into the movie that's, what's it called? With the one with Scarlett Johansson in it. Do you know what I'm on about? She goes up like percentiles.
Yeah.
She ingests a drug that.
Does she turn into like a black goo? Like
Yeah,
black...
and then but she operates in this state of almost like the limitless, same thing again. But she increases her. No, it opens up part of your brain, doesn't it? Because we're actually only ever using 30% of our brain.
That's what you say.
That's what they say. I mean, other people, are probably using more or less. Like, for example, people who are addicted to drugs use less than what we do.
That's been argued, though. That's been argued that, like, you can't use 100%. And even if you could, like, there's parts of your brain that aren't supposed to be active at the same time as other, you know what I mean? Like,
like some work at night, some work at day. Because it's all about circadian rhythm. It's like making sure everything works in flow.
If you could have access to all your brain at once, I don't think you'd want to.
No, I'd be scared. I would have a panic attack probably.
I don't think your consciousness, like the part of you that's awake, be able to comprehend all of that at the same time.
But you normally just use your front lobes, don't you? You normally use one of the two front lobes, and they switch on.
This is what the movie's based on. It's based on the pill. Like that's what they said in the movie. It opens up your brain 100%. But actually, I felt flow state. Yeah. You have, right? Mm-hmm. You have too, right?
Yeah.
It feels amazing. It feels like you're 100% with it, like in the moment. Mm-hmm. And anything that you want to recall, you can recall at the moment, moment's notice. Mm-hmm. Unlike this podcast, where I feel like I'm dying today. Anyway, sometimes on the podcast, man, like it comes to you like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Other times you're like slow, like computing.
You're sitting there, you're trying to process it. I'll tell you what, I got into flow state yesterday, and it went back to our vision boards that we were speaking about in previous pods. And I was sitting there, you sent me a YouTube video about visions and like growing your vision. You're having your personal vision, like having a personal vision, a wealth vision, and then a company vision. And it really enlightened me. And actually, I sat there with a coffee and Costa. I wasn't going to get a coffee, But for some reason, this coffee hit different. Maybe they put a magic pill in it. Maybe it was just because it was an iced coconut latte plus. It could.
Wait, coconut? Didn't you have oat?
I did today because they don't have coconut milk in Harbour.
That's such a hard order, man. Having to say iced oat vanilla latte, please, and a oat decaf latte. Oat decaf.
Basically, if you're a coffee maker on here, you hate us, is essentially what the answer is here. But yeah, no, I had it, and I went into this state where that's when I messaged you so much. Do you remember I was like spamming messages through?
Oh yeah,
yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's my brain goes into like hyperdrive where I just think and everything's coming to me.
Like marketing whilst I'm like deep in clients. I'm like, yeah.
Tomorrow, we were in two different mindsets at that point in time.
I'm real busy right now.
Yeah, just like, damn, fuck off, basically.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when I'm not deep in clients. No, not that. When I'm not working with clients.
Yeah.
We're not those kind of people.
So flow state, I've thought about this a long time because I read a book called Flow, which was about the flow state. And it's like, it talks about how can you get into flow. And it says flow is when the challenge is great enough that it excites you, but your skill level's high enough that you have a possibility of achieving it. If your skill level's too low or the challenge is too great, you'll come out of it. So flow state's like, it's almost like the yin and yang between the black and the white, the chaos and the order. You're almost on that borderline between the two. And that's why flow state, sometimes you can come away from it very quickly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by how to stay in it because I've experienced it a few times and I've experienced it once for 9 months.
9 months?
Non-stop. Yeah.
How did you do that?
I'm not joking. Like that period of time, I never felt at any moment that I was off track, off flow. I felt fully, and it comes down to like feeling fully aligned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know Dr. Joe Dispenza?
No.
Talks about supernatural. What's it called? Becoming Supernatural is his book. He talks about how your genes can express, genes can turn on based on your thoughts. So you can like actual genes. Yeah, not these genes, man. Okay. So if you're grateful, you can actually turn on genes that actually help synthesize and repair your body.
I will be big and strong. I will be big and strong. I will be big and strong.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Mad. But you know what? I like that because it brings me on to my point. Do you know how people say that when you get extremely stressed, it can also do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when people become extremely stressed, I've had clients in the past that have gained massive amounts of weight, but they haven't been eating much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Explain that one. Because technically, all stress is done there has obviously switched on genes that have dropped down your metabolism so great that actually your maintenance is basically nothing.
Exactly.
So then you end up gaining weight because you think you're like, well, I'm not eating anything, so I should be losing weight. But actually your metabolism has dropped so excessively that you're actually at maintenance. So even if it's a little bit over and you start eating, you'll gain weight really quickly.
And the point of a calorie deficit is your hormones are what's responsible for losing fat or gaining muscle, right? The calorie deficit is just the hormones are what create the calorie deficit, right? So if you're not feeding your body the right things, your hormones won't be optimized towards the right things. If your cortisol is too high, for example, you'll find it hard to lose fat. You just will. You need. For example, let's go on the male testosterone cortisol debate, right? Not debate, but it's like a seesaw. So testosterone, when it's high, cortisol should tend to be low, and then vice versa. If cortisol is high, testosterone is low. Testosterone is a fat burner. It's a muscle builder, right? It's a very anabolic hormone. Cortisol is complete opposite. So if one's up, one's down, that means it's going to switch things off, switch things on, depending on what your goal is. So if you're really stressed, you're going to find it very hard to lose fat. I'll
tell you something interesting. Going into the PCOS world here for kind of my experience, working with people with PCOS, the interesting thing is you're saying that seesaw, their seesaw basically does that. Their cortisol shoots up and so does their testosterone. And especially if these people suffer with like clinical anxiety and depression, bang, you're in this position where actually you're gaining weight really quickly, but you're losing weight really quickly. So it ends up going back to that almost at some point.
Women's hormones are so much more complex than men's.
But what I've been learning about, it's so interesting as well. One of the big things within the fitness industry people are talking about, and I like to talk about a little bit more with people, is the whole story of obviously the menstrual cycle. And women, basically, when you go into your luteal phase, you do not metabolize glycogen as efficiently. So why you are feeling and craving sugar is because you're basically not getting the sugar from the body that when it's stored from eating things prior, you're not using that. So of course you're going to crave it because your body's going, I need sugar. There's no sugar. I need sugar. So you just consume calorie-dense foods that have sugar in them to spike your glucose, which is why people on their periods feel so like, I need chocolate. I need sweet stuff. Anything who craves... I know someone who used to crave sponges, like touching sponges, like rubbing sponges, really weird craving, but completely off kilter. I don't know where that came from, but... Yeah, so women, when you're in your menstrual cycles, the reason you're craving sugar is because you're not metabolizing sugar as you should do.
Yeah.
So you want more of it.
Bam.
I'm in tune with ladies.
Bam. Yeah, no, that's insane. Right, well, I'll tell you what, man. What is your strategy for getting yourself into flow state?
My strategy for getting myself in the flow state, I've got 4 principles.
Yeah.
For me personally. One of them starts in the morning. I call it the straight out of bed routine.
Yeah.
And it's quite weird if you're ever staying in a bed with me. I don't know if I ever will share a bed with you. But if I'm ever sleeping in a bed, how I know I'm in a good routine is I bolt straight upright and I'm out. If I go back to sleep, as soon as the alarm goes off, bang, straight up. Where you get around that, if you do find yourself going back to sleep, put the alarm at the end of the bed. You have to get out into the cold, and by that point in time, you're woken up. Rule 1. Second part, stretching and mobility. We're going to come on to that in another podcast. Yeah. Stretching and mobility. So bolt upright, stretching and mobility. My body's awake, my body's mobilized. Job's a good one. Then we go throughout my day. That's got my day sorted. I'm flowing from that point. The end of the day is when my flow state continues. I show gratitude for everything that's happened in the day. And then I read some non-fiction book to then psychologically switch my creative mind on. So that when I go to sleep, I wake up, my creative mind's on, back into the rhythm again. That's kind of how I do it in 4 separate stages.
That's cool. Yeah. Perfect.
How do you do it?
Mate, first thing, I think if someone is like, let's say for most entrepreneurs and people, they're going to be constantly like distracted. Lots of things going on here. So the first thing I would recommend for someone to get in the flow state is to, first of all, get rid of distractions. Now, if that means minimizing gaming, TV, Netflix, porn use especially, okay? Even if you listen to like 4 hours of podcast every day, like, is that really conducive for you to have a brain that's clear? Like, you got to think about that. So remove distractions is number 1.
Unless it's this podcast, crack on.
Yeah, it's only 30 minutes. So remove distractions, number 1, so you actually get some energy, get some clarity in your mind. You can actually start to think again, like be more clear, okay? Then you need a period of time in the day where you wake up in the morning, you stretch. You can use this time to meditate, okay? And meditation doesn't mean hum, it means clearing the mind. And then visualizing, the future that you want, already here, being grateful for what you have. And then you'll feel clear. You should, in that theory, just feel clear. And then you'll feel like you're being pulled towards the vision that you're after, which is the law of attraction, which we talked about before.
Okay. And I personally feel right this second, I'm in flow state. Everything at the minute is driving. I spilt my protein shake this morning, but, inconvenience. But
I your car smells?
No, I didn't. I spilt it this morning.
Oh, no, that's Rob's. No, sorry.
It's Rob's car.
Rob's car.
Rob's car. The interesting point that you raised there, which is kind of, I'm trying to bring it back to me right now, is you were talking about obviously the flow state throughout the day, people clearing their mind. Now, out of curiosity, I read into this. Meditation when you were in the Marines. Now, not necessarily meditation, but a breathing routine. Did you ever learn a certain breathing routine when you're in the
Marines?
Yeah.
No.
Did you not?
No.
So I researched this online. There was a breathing routine that's used in some Marine corps. That it's basically you inhale all of your negative energy and you breathe in and you kind of clear your mind in that instance. And then you lay there, literally just arms down either side, legs down either side. And as you breathe out, you kind of stretch through your body and feel everything elongate.
Oh, really?
And you release this negative energy out through your body. Sounds really spiritual. But when it comes to getting to sleep, if I'm struggling to sleep, that's what I do. And it just completely clears my mind and makes me think, I'm all good.
Yeah. We're actually going to go into a spiritual episode with a special guest soon. But there is something to say about, like, if you know about the Kundalini, it's like...
is that a pasta?
I hope I said that right. No, it's the Indian name for the chakras in the spine, running up the Kundalini, the 7 chakras, and each chakra has a energy center in the spine, going up the spine. I can't remember what they're all called, but I know the bottom one's called root, and I think the next one's sacral, and then we go up to like solar plexus, then heart chakra, throat chakra, the pineal gland, which is the 3rd eye, which you've heard about. Then we go into just above, and it's like you receive energy from the universe, goes through here, which is where you get all your creative ideas from, and then it goes down into the body. And you can feel like a knot in your stomach sometimes, which is showing that there's something wrong in that area of your life. So maybe like your finances aren't taken care of, or you've got some difficulty at home, and you'll feel like a knot in your stomach, like anxiety. Yeah. And depending on the kind of tension you feel, it could dictate something going on in your life in that way. And they've actually shown that, you know, people will meditate, and it will allow you to release this Kundalini, open up the chakras, and allow to receive energy from the universe into your body. Now, not in terms of like what you're probably thinking when I say receiving universal energy like that, but in terms of just feeling like you have more clarity.
Yeah, I can get
Ideas.
that.
Yeah.
So is it in a sense traveling through your body, and then sometimes it's going to hit a snare?
Yeah.
So in theory,
Yeah.
in theory, you're pissing out this energy.
Yeah. Oh, don't tell me. Oh, I've got a random fact for you. I've got a random fact for you.
Yeah, sorry.
They've literally proven this, that almost 100% of the water that you drink today was once pissed out by a dinosaur.
Yeah. My younger kid inside me is like, oh my God.
That's crazy.
I'm drinking from a triceratops. Wow.
T-Rex's piss, man. You're drinking from that. You never know. You never know. It's gone through at one point.
I guarantee, knowing my luck, I'd probably have like some weird fucking dinosaur that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
The ugly fuckers. That's the one that I'm drinking the piss of.
What are those big ones that look like rhinos?
Triceratops.
Oh, is that? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Triceratops.
Yeah, that's a big boy one, isn't it? I'd be the Stegosaurus, the one that eats the plants.
This is quite a talent of mine. I'm very good at naming dinosaurs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go on, name 10.
Oh, this is a game now. Pterodactyl, bronchiosaur, ankylosaur, velociraptor, Spinosaurus.
Is that one Spinosaurus?
Spinosaurus is one.
Is it?
Spinosaurus is one.
No way.
Yeah, it is. Spinosaurus
Sounds like the name
is
of
one.
the body. You like Firesaur, Spinosaur.
Now you put me under pressure. Crocodile. Technically.
Would a chicken count?
I don't think a chicken would
Came
count.
from a dinosaur, didn't it? Actually, no, it doesn't count.
Have I done pterodactyl?
Yes.
Fuck. Shit.
Oh, he's failed.
God damn it.
Right, cool. Anyway,
I don't have a talent for naming dinosaurs.
flow state.
Oh, yes.
Done it again, man. We keep going off track. Flow state, right?
You know what? I blame myself.
We've talked about flow state.
We have.
There's science behind this and practical steps. We've talked about them.
Yeah.
Okay. So name one thing you think an entrepreneur who's really busy, really stressed, can do to get into flow state. One thing, not all of them. What's the most important?
I think prioritizing the things you enjoy most to create discipline.
Okay.
I think, as we said earlier, creating discipline around things you enjoy, more good vibes, more good life.
Good vibes.
Yeah, more good vibes, more good life. So if you can prioritize those things that are obviously so important to you that you enjoy,
yeah,
why not? Like for me, I'm wanting to get back into sport. I'm wanting to prioritize that because it brings me happiness, it brings me health.
That's a good one.
So it brings me discipline in the athletic world to, get stronger, faster, quicker, and not just be like, I want to look pretty for the beach.
If you couple that with removing excessive amounts of gaming, porn, or Netflix, etc., then yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think you're in a good position. I mean, there's a lot of studies around porn at this point in time, isn't there? Like huge studies on it. So it's an interesting point.
We all okay, come on. I would say most of us, like the majority, 99% do it.
Yeah.
Well,
of course.
It's normal.
Cheeky tug.
But if you're excessively doing it, it destroys dopamine. You lose motivation. just look at the NoFap community. Like search in, why do we do NoFap November? You know, it's an underground movement of men, primarily.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally... the thing is, there's benefits to it as well, though, isn't there? It's just, again, everything in moderation. If you do it, like, once a week, like, I'm sure it's good.
Except for meditation, you can rinse that.
Could you My brain's going off.
You could be that monk that gets found in a cardboard box 300 years later, still alive, but never moves.
What if your meditation takes you down some really dodgy sexual route? Does that count? You know, does that count into NoFap November? Like, what if that guy is just meditating and he's just orgasming permanently?
Yeah, let's talk about this another time, because I've got a few things myself we can talk about there. Anyway.
Oh, I think it's a good podcast.
Yeah. Perfect. Cool.
Well, make sure you follow, like, subscribe on all different social medias. Obviously, you're going to see clips of this all over the show, and we really appreciate your listening. You know what?
And if you like this, don't forget to rate. Don't forget to review and rate this episode. Give us 5 stars. Give us your opinion.
Oh, we'd love to hear it. I mean, I'd love seeing the ratings go up. Everyone's loving it. Well, we'll catch you guys later.
In a bit. All right, let's...